everyone, Christy here. A buddy of mine brought me over a couple days ago to see Derek and Camise. They own the Everitt farm, and I just want to give them some appreciation for what they're doing here as far as organic farming and just doing the right thing with integrity. And want you guys to explain a little bit about your farm, and we'll take it from there.
Well, I'm Camise, and this is my husband, Derek. We own Everitt Farms. This farm is on my grandmother's property. It's 7.5 acres total with an acre in food production. And it's originally my family's homestead land. It was homesteaded in the 1870s, and this is what we have left.
So what do you guys grow?
So on the acre in the acre garden, we grow really the whole range of vegetables. So we grow potatoes and onions and broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage and peas and green beans and radishes and carrots and lettuce and spinach and kale and broccoli. And so really we're a full vegetable garden, and we're trying to kind of show how you can grow lots of different foods in our climate. And a lot of people say, well, our season's too short or too long, and we had broccoli and peas and lettuces and greens and radishes that we were planting in March this year, and then we'll continue to be able to harvest things, the cool season veggies, both by use of proper shading techniques all the way through the summer and clear into like the November months. So we really grow anything we can. Right now we're mostly just annual food because it's our first year on the farm, so we don't have any real perennial fruit trees or anything like that yet.
Part of our goal also is to grow the food that people eat. So it's not really, we're not going for the boutique foods and the specialty foods as much. We're really trying to grow things that anybody could eat. Like, it's the things that people know how to cook, the things that the single mom that comes in with her couple of kids, she knows how to cook potatoes, and she knows how to use onions, and she knows what to put radishes in and how to use the greens. And rather than having a lot of specialty foods that people look at and go, what do I do with this? We want the things that they eat on a daily basis, so we can really try to provide good, local, healthy food for everyone around us.
So you guys have got a lot of fruits and vegetables growing out here. Does any of this go to waste? What do you do with what you don't sell here at the property?
Whatever we don't sell here at the property, we have been taking to the local grocery stores. Throw a shout out either Gold's Market or on Kipling and 26th, or Heine's Market on 44th and Ward. We take our extra food and sell it there wholesale so it can be distributed back into the community.
That's awesome. So how do you guys feel about mandatory labeling of genetically modified organisms?
Well, I think we all have the right to know, and we really appreciate the right to know out here. GMO foods and genetically modified organisms are really, we don't agree. We feel like our food should be natural and from the earth, and that, that
Pesticides?
and that food should be grown without pesticides and without chemical fertilizers and without modifications of their genome.
Part of what we do to stay away from genetically modified organisms is to use all heirloom varieties. So we actually, when we choose our seed stock, we choose heirloom over organic in a lot of cases, because we can be more sure of the purity of the seeds using the older varieties, and that helps to increase our genetic diversity in our food rather than decrease it, which is kind of where the genetic GMOs take us.
So can you tell everybody, the difference between an heirloom seed and an organic seed, and where are the companies you're getting these seeds from?
Heirloom varieties are the older varieties, the more original varieties that people have kept in their basic form for hundreds of years. Some of the seed stock we have, I mean, they can trace back to the 1700s. Most of them is 1800s, and it's before they started crossbreeding and hybridizing the seed stock. So that's really what makes things heirloom, is being the oldest varieties possible. And the organic, they can be heirloom and be organic, but they aren't necessarily heirloom. Organic just means that they have to meet the organic certification requirements.
And, you know, we all know that the USDA and the FDA have an allowable level of pesticides in all foods that we have. So I guess if you're getting organic seeds, it's better than getting, you know, genetically modified seeds, but yet they do still contain pesticides due to the crops being sprayed and such. So is there
something I wanted to add is the heirloom seeds, a lot of the reason that they're not labeled organic specifically is because they're coming from smaller farms and smaller farmers. So a lot of the seeds we buy actually come from a co-op of heirloom farms, where it's people that open pollinate and breed and save their own seeds. So that in those smaller farms, they're not certified organic, but they are using the best natural growing practices without chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers. And here on our farm, we don't use any chemical pesticides or fertilizers to grow our crops. We just use interplanting and companion planting methods to manage soil health in order to just grow in an enriched soil that feeds the plants as it is.
And is some bugs really good for the garden? I mean, you do want some bugs in your garden. So what are some of the other methods to keep the bugs away that are not chemical based?
Well, like I mentioned, the companion planting or the interplanting is planting multiple crops together. So the original example of companion planting would be the Indians' three-sister garden, where they would grow beans and corn and squash together. And by growing the multiple crops together, if there's a pest that likes one of the crops, well, then they don't eat all three of the crops. They're only going to eat the one crop, and it helps to balance it. Plus, it helps really manage the soil health. So, like in the Three Sisters gardens, the squash grow low and sprawling, and they cover the soil to help hold the moisture. And the corn grows nice and tall, and then the beans have the corn that they can trellis up the corn to grow. And then the beans are also giving the nitrogen back into the soil as a legume, so they help to improve the soil health. And as with the bugs, there's a lot of beneficial insects such as ladybugs or green lacewings. What else?
Praying mantis.
Praying mantises, and by having multiple crops and interplanting, it gives a better habitat for the beneficial insects to live in. It also means that when you have a problem with things such as aphids, that they don't just completely overrun the entire field. They may take a section of one crop, but that can be cleaned up, taken out, mitigated, and there's still other crops that are there, and as opposed to like losing an entire field or being forced to use a chemical pesticide so you don't lose an entire crop.
So is there anything else that you would like to share with Colorado? The location is actually right here at the corner of Alameda and Garrison. And I can't tell you, they've got a beautiful garden out here. When are you open for your farmers market right here?
We're open Wednesdays from 11 to 6, Friday from 11 to 6, and Saturday from 9 to 4. Yep. We try to be open during rush hour so people can stop on their way home and pick up groceries. And yeah. And again, we just want to say thank you for the Right to Know to come out and talk to us today. It's honestly, it's pretty flattering to be asked to do an interview like this. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you as well.
Well, thank you.
And we are definitely for labeling our foods. Knowledge is power, and we all need to know what's in our food.
All right, guys, this is Christy Crum. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid getting clean ones. They're
Everett Farms, we have a very unique situation and opportunity. Given our location here, 9400 West Alameda Avenue, we actually have 26 acres total that we use, 7.5 we own, and another 18 that we lease. So our farm sits between Garrison and Kipling on the south side of Alameda Avenue in Lakewood. And due to our urban environment and sort of center, we're trying to build a new model for sustainable foods to break free of not only the GMOs but of just industrial food in general. We really feel that food should be grown and distributed in a local sense. So given our kind of high profile location here, we're actually zoned as a mixed use property. So what that means is we can have everything on this property from apartment buildings to grocery stores and a farm. So what we'd really like to do, our vision and mission, is to build a food center, or a food hub is a term that's been used a lot. So we'd like to build on this property eventually, as if our farm's successful down the road, a small set of very specific food-based businesses, a grocery store, a bakery, a cheese shop, a butcher shop, and some traditional, like, historical town center type businesses in mixed use buildings that are supported directly by the farm, so that we can help to create a model for the way food can be distributed in a more local sense.
And we want this to be supported not just by our farm, but by all of the backyard farms around us. Especially in Lakewood, people have a lot of property. The average lot in Lakewood is at least 1/4 of an acre. Some of them are up to 2 or 3 acres, and there are quite a few, even 6 and 7 acre properties around this area. So there are a lot of people that have gardens, and they grow quite a bit of food, and they grow excess. And when they have excess, they don't know what to do with it. So we're trying to create, that's where the term food hub comes in, but we're trying to create a place where people can actually bring that food and they can trade it out for goods that they don't have, or things that they can't produce themselves. So maybe somebody has a huge amount of squashes. We all grow squashes. We know they grow great here, but people in apartments can't grow squashes, but maybe they have planter tomatoes that they want to bring in and trade out. So we want to create a place where people can bring their food and trade it so that it can be redistributed back to the community around us.
Yeah.
What else would you like to say?
In that, we'd also like to have an area where food can be processed, a shared community kitchen where food can inside a market space where people could bring in their harvests, process it in goods that can be sold either in our market or through other markets, or traded in our market for store credit.
Yeah.
Or just freeze it and kept for themselves, so that, again, we break free of that industrial foods model and we bring our grocery and our food dollars back to our community instead of sending them across the oceans and across the country.